Hi, I'm Allison at Leading Edge Dog Show Academy, and I'm here today to talk to you about the state of dog shows and some different ideas that I've talked about with some friends of mine. And I've seen the survey by the Canadian Kennel Club that came out about, the big thing out of it all was reduced examinations for dogs. So I've seen a couple people have this posted on Facebook, and some of the comments, and people are like, you might as well not even have a dog show if we're just going to do it virtually and not touch the dogs. And so I'm going to say my piece about it, and then there's probably going to be a lot of controversy because from what I saw on some of the posts on Facebook, my opinion is different than other people's. So here we go. I think people that feel safe and healthy and want to go to a dog show, I think that in some areas of the world, it's probably safe enough with the proper rules, distancing, disinfecting, all those things in place to go to a dog show. I'm not talking about big, huge 25,000 dog shows in enclosed buildings where people are there for 4 days at a time. I'm talking about having smaller poodle shows. I didn't really mean to say poodle. I meant like smaller breed specific shows. So club shows, specialty shows, whatever you call them in the country that you are at or in. And I do think it is a good way for us to see young dogs. Maybe there was a new stud dog come out last year and now it's time to see what he's been producing, as well as get some of our older dogs out, etc. So I've had some conversations about this with some really good friends of mine who are very successful in the world of dog shows. And don't get me wrong, I think that there is nothing wrong with physically examining the dogs. I don't. But I also think that maybe it's not always needed. Because let's face it, the quality of dogs in many, many breeds, that usually the one that walks in the class and it looks like the best one and it acts like the best one and it moves like the best one, often it's the best one. And sometimes people get too confused by, making it over complicated. We see judges all the time go in the ring and actually talk themselves out of putting up the best one. Now, I might be wrong, and you can disagree with me, and that's completely fine. But I've been to some of the biggest dog shows all over the world, and often the one that walked in the ring and took my breath away was the one that should have won. And later, when I did put my hands on it, I was not disappointed. If you are a good dog person and you can you do know structure, you do know movement, you do know type, do you really need to put your hands on them? Yes, you need to see their bite, but you can see their bite, from far away. People can open the mouth. It might take a little bit longer to do the mouth exam because you are looking from so far away. You could ask the exhibitors to be honest. We are in a different era. Dog shows are going to be a little bit different, but can you show me that again, right? Coat texture. I've heard people say, well, you can't properly examine coat texture. Well, you can't, but you can see coat texture. If you know what correct coat texture looks like in your breed. I breed poodles. I show poodles. Poodles have a lot of product in them. I can still tell the ones that have good coat texture, whether they're hairsprayed, they're not hairsprayed, I've touched them or I haven't touched them. Shetland sheepdogs, it doesn't matter how much product they have, and you can tell the ones that have the good profuse coat and the ones that don't. I personally actually feel that when judging a class, when you go to put your hands on them, you might get down to two dogs are so incredibly close, so typey, they move so well, they carry themselves so well, their coat looks fantastic, that you might have to put your hands on them to really decide between first and second. But wouldn't that be a blessing? Wouldn't that be a blessing to just have two dogs in your ring that just so exuded breed type and just moved like the breed and just had that air of distinction about them that you actually wanted to put your hands on them? And you know what? In that case, maybe we should have a tie. I actually think the harder part will be deciding third and fourth. I think that sometimes when you're getting to the specimens that aren't as good, those are the ones that you really do need to put your hands on because they don't have enough type or carriage or coat texture or good movement that we can see without putting our hands on. And that's when you're going to have to go get into the nitty gritty of like, can I really judge what one's loin might be a little bit longer than the other one's loin because of how they're trimmed or how they're standing? And at that point, I'm sorry to say it, but if we're adjudicating the best of the best, I don't really need to know who's third and fourth. I mean, I do in the real world, but for the sake of this argument, when we're getting down to the specimens that aren't as good, those are the ones I'm not considering for my breeding stock anyway. So yes, third and fourth, I think, are the times where we're actually going to have our hands on them. And I know that everybody's going to put in the comments and say, you need to have your hands on them. That's ridiculous. Do you want us to never examine dogs again? No, that's not what I'm saying. I do think that there is a place for the exam, but I am also saying that during this time, do we really need to put our hands on the dogs? And I honestly believe that it is more necessary to put your hands on the dogs for the ones that are of lesser quality than the ones that are of more quality. And that's how I always see it. So, case in point. A friend of mine had a dog show in her backyard. So she had the 6 people that were in her bubble come to her house, and they each had 3 or 4 dogs because they all had young puppies, and they showed the dogs. They had 2 of the people in the bubble judged. So they judged the dogs. They are very well-known judges who have judged national specialties in Canada and the US. And I also judged the show via FaceTime. None of us knew what the other ones were doing. I didn't watch it during FaceTime. It's not on Connect Dogs. There was no way to find out who the winner was. And 3 of us, including myself, only judging from FaceTime, and my 2 friends that were judging hands-on, who I respect and admire deeply, we put up the same dog for Best in Show. Now, yes, it was only out of 15 or 18 dogs, or however many all my friends could scatter together, but they were young dogs. It was windy. I judged it by FaceTime, but this dog just exuded breed type. I could see the coat texture. It was a coated breed. I did look closely, with the camera for the bite, and I did watch where the other person put their hands, but it's not like I said, oh, could you move that chest hair again so I can see how deep it is? I could tell how deep it was by her movement, by how she came towards me, by how she moved around the ring. So just a little example for you there. So again, I'm not saying that I'm saying we don't ever need to examine dogs again. I'm just saying that if we do want to move forward in a way, do we really need to examine the dogs? And my opinion is right now, typically, I've had the same opinion without touching dogs as other people have who I deeply respect touching the dogs. That's just my opinion. So thank you for listening to my little rant here on YouTube. And I hope everybody is staying safe out there. And, the world's a bit of a crazy place right now. So I want you to stay safe and, do the best, do what you need to do for you. So remember that I'm Allison from Leading Edge Dog Show Academy. And thank you very much for watching our YouTube video. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, why not like and subscribe? And, you can hit the bell, let us know what you think. We would love to talk to you. Thanks. Take care.